Hello, everyone. Welcome to Unit 3. I'm Jono Anzalone, and honored to be with you again in this journey to look at applied disaster leadership. In my reflections today, I'm going to explore a yet underexamined distinction in our field, the difference between human-made disasters and natural disasters. Now, on the surface, the distinction may seem straightforward. Earthquakes and hurricanes fall on one side, armed conflicts, protracted emergencies, industrial accidents on the other. But the truth is, as many of us have seen firsthand, it's far more complex. Disasters driven by tectonic forces or political ones rarely fit neatly into these boxes. And the lines I have seen blur when it comes to natural disasters like hurricanes, where it really exposes deep human-made vulnerabilities, including substandard housing, radicalized infrastructure problems, or systemic neglect. So in my career, from responding to the Haiti earthquake with USAID back in the 2011 period to leading Red Cross operations in places like Liberia during the Ebola crisis, to really engage with climate adaptation work in the US, I've seen again and again how critical it is to really understand the origin of the crisis and the system that it actually impacts. Human-made disasters often demand a different set of tools from my experience, whether we look at the legal infrastructure, disarmament frameworks in protracted emergencies where there's conflict, or humanitarian access strategies when it comes to individual or community complexes which are hard to access. So natural disasters for me require us to have really good technical forecasting and mitigation measures, but still play out in a deeply political way. Increasingly, we faced hybrid events where we see conflicts in the midst of a drought or flooding that follows years of failed governance, as in many states and nations outside of the United States. So this week, I have been thinking a lot about my lived experience in this distinction, and I encourage you to approach the distinction not as a classification exercise, but as a prompt for thinking strategically. How does our assessment and assumptions about the disaster origin shape how we plan, intervene, and actually lead? What's legal or coordination structure look like relative to the context in which we are serving? And then who gets included and excluded as a result of some of those systems issues at the base? There aren't quite abstract questions that I would pose. I would think about other areas such as funding streams, media narratives, and most importantly, a community-centered approach. So as always, bring your stakeholder lens to the table. Whether you're acting as a Red Cross official from an NGO perspective, UN logistician, or a faith leader, ask how your approach shifts based on the type of crisis that you're facing. I think this type of adaptation has been very helpful for me in different country contexts where we have a mix of human-made underlying causes as well as natural disasters. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to future weeks with you.